pressure's gonna come your way. We've got something that is new, that is true. We've got something just for you today.
Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Yeah. Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Oh, looks like we made it. We're Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Kids Incorporated. We're gonna have fun.
This is from last year on Crazy Days and Nights, Monday, November 13th, 2017. Today's blind items: child porn and drugs. The story of two A-listers. For the past month, I keep hearing that these two women, who are each at one point A-listers, were going to come forward and tell their story. They can tell it a lot better than me. One of them even knows the details of how this became one of the largest child porn rings in the world. Back when this show first aired, people were just starting to buy VCRs. The first A-lister basically made her career from the show. All of you know her. I mean, all of you. Although she credits her career to the show, she also credits her years of hardcore drug abuse and her sex addiction and trouble with intimacy and commitment to the show. You tell me how you would be if at the age of 9 or 10 you were being offered drugs by producers, and while you were almost passed out from the drugs, being molested and raped by those same men. Oh, and a great percentage of other times they would take the boys you were starring with and make them have sex with you, or the producers would be getting naked with the boys. What if they kept telling you how great you were and then sent you all over the world to promote the show? Did I say promote as in talking about the show? No. They sent her all over the world to have sex with guys interested in child porn in other countries who wanted to start their own versions of the show. When she got to be in her teens, they pushed her out of the show, and she ended up being molested by a different group of producers in a different corner of the entertainment world. She says she was first molested at 9 or 10, and that she did not have consensual sex until she was almost 20. Our second A-lister was A-list for much longer. All of you know her. She was kind of a replacement for our first victim. She was also about 10 when she started on the show, and started being molested and assaulted on almost a daily basis. She blames her trust issues and intimacy issues on the experience. She also says it's one of the reasons she ever refused to get naked or topless for a movie. It triggers her to see any kind of camera when she is topless or naked. That is the only way they would film her when she was a kid. She's never really relished being in the public eye, but always said she would work enough to never have to work again. And she has pretty much done that. The owners of these companies were incredibly smart sexual predators. They were constantly changing the name of the holding company. They would transfer ownership of the companies through other studios. They knew which producers and politicians loved child porn and would send them videos. These guys started doing child porn and then realized if they started a TV show or pretended they were starting a show, they could have more access to kids. The way things worked, they made a few episodes of the show just to show people so they can get more kids. It was not until they met another child porn lover, who was also a producer that saw the show, that they sold it. One of these producers is still working today in the same kind of environment. For decades, he has been doing what he does to children and tweens. The thing is, though, none of his shows have really ever produced stars the level of the two mentioned here. One time about a decade ago, the second of our two victims in this blind was making noises about going public. One of the foreign child porn producers she had met, one of her exchange tours, arranged for her to make a record. Although it was released here, it was only moderate success. In the country overseas, though, it sold millions of copies, making her a huge star in that country. The company spent millions on advertising to ensure the sales, and that deal has kept her quiet until now. I am really hoping they step forward because it will create the avalanche necessary to get all the other victims from that show and the ones since to step forward and bring this group down. I think at this point I'm going to start assuming every time I see a kid's show that they're all being molested, because that seems to be where we're going, and it's fucking ridiculous. I also want to thank whoever pointed this out to me. I got lost and I don't remember who it was, but I appreciate it. Let's take a look at the clues. Number 1, we're looking for 2 female former A-listers that were on number 2, a show that aired when VCRs first came out or became popular. Number 3, first A-lister credits her career and addiction to the show. Number 4, age 9 or 10, she was drugged and raped by the producers. And 5, when she was a teen, she was out of the show and pushed to the other corner of the entertainment industry, where she continued to be raped and molested.
We got something that is new, that is true. We got something just for you today. All around the nation. Whoa,
When the show first aired, people were just starting to buy VCRs. The VHS came out in the early 70s, released in 77, but didn't really become popular until the early 80s. And Kids Incorporated 1984 is when it started. The first A-lister basically made her career from the show. Although she credits her career to the show, she also credits her years of drug abuse to the show. October 14th, 2009, the Kids Incorporated caused Fergie's drug habit. Black Eyed Peas front lady, Fergie, blames her early years in Hollywood as an actress and singer to catapulting her into drug addiction. What happens when you're a child professional is that you have to be, well, professional. You're taught not to have tantrums, to always people please. That's part of how I got into drugs later. At the end of the article, it says, let's check out Fergie and other celebrities who got their start on the same show. Maybe then we can find out if Kids Incorporated was really just a drug pusher in disguise. I don't think they ever did, though. When she got to be in her teens, they pushed her out of the show and she ended up being molested by a different group of producers in a different corner of the entertainment world. At 15, my friend calls me and says, hey, this manager wants to start this girl's singing group. So I started at 15 after school, driving out to the valley with my mom and going to these rehearsals with these girls, and was in this girl group for 11 years called Wild Orchid. I just wanted to point this out. At the age of 9 or 10, they would take the boys you were starring with and make them have sex with you, or the producers would be getting naked with the boys.
You remember your first kiss?
Yes.
Who was she and how old were you?
I'm very proud to say my very first kiss was with Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas.
How old
We'll
was
leave it at
Fergie?
that.
How old was she?
We were both 10 years old.
Where
About
was
to
this?
turn 10. It was on a show we worked on called Kids Incorporated. Yes.
Fergie, she turns out gorgeous.
She did. She was a gorgeous little girl. I mean, that's a hell of a first kiss, huh?
And when I find a dot that lines up somewhere else, I can't help but connect it. And the dot I caught in this blind item was, they sent her around the world to promote the show, i.e. have sex with other pedophiles wanting to make child porn. And this totally reminded me of the video I just put out a couple weeks ago about Lolita and Kubrick.
Now we're touring with Lolita, and we're going from country to country. Well, I have a 5-year contract. I have a 7-year contract with Harris Kubrick. There will be 5 years left. And they make the decisions from now on. Mr. Harris is reading properties now, looking for something for me to do. And when he finds it, then we'll be making another picture.
So I pointed out to them, I said, you know, you've made a tremendous amount of money off of me. And I think you owe me the respect to be who I am. I did your movie, and now I need to get on with the rest of my life. I'll be happy to work again, but not every second. So I did I did promotion tours for them that went on, I can't remember if it was 1 year or 2 years. Then Night of the Iguana had more promotion tours where I had to travel all over the world. This is not my idea of a good time. I hate the spotlight. I hate people looking at me. I don't like strangers asking me questions. I like to be left alone, really. I enjoy my security, my safeness with a private life.
That's why we had so much trouble to find you, maybe.
Maybe. It's not that I'm hiding anything.
And some more clues. Number 1, this A-lister was an A-lister for much longer. Number 2, also starting around 10 and was replacing number 1. Number 3, never been topless or naked in a movie. Number 4, hasn't worked much lately. And number 5, about 10 years ago, foreign child pornography producer put out an album that was successful overseas in their country. And I wanted to point out that when I abbreviated child porn producer as CPP, I also noticed you could do that with Comet Ping Pong. I'm just saying. Second A-lister was A-list for much longer. All of you know her. She was kind of a replacement for her first victim. She was also around 10 when she started the show. Jennifer Love Hewitt, born in 79, started in 90. She would be around 10 and she kind of was a replacement. for Fergie. She also says the show is one of the reasons she ever refused to get naked or topless in a movie. It triggers her to see the camera. You have no chance of ever seeing these celebrities nude, ever. And Jennifer Love Hewitt's right there. She's never been naked or topless for a movie. She always said she would work enough to never have to work again, and she's pretty much done that. So she does have like a few things here and there, but she's definitely not working like she used to in the 90s. One of the foreign child porn producers she had met in one of her exchange tours arranged for her to make a record. Although it was released here, it was only a moderate success. In the country, overseas though, it sold millions of copies, making her a huge star in that country. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Cool With You, the Platinum Collection, Warner Music Philippines, 2006, about 12 years ago. Jennifer Love Hewitt has lived a double life. While her beautiful face has been seen on TV and movie screens for more than 2 decades, she has been a huge pop star in Asia for almost as long. And some more clues. Number 1, the owners kept changing holding companies and studios. Number 2, the producers still working in the same kind of environment. Number 3, none of them produced stars like the first 2. So I did find that they went from like NBC to Disney, then Lynch Builder Productions, Lynch Entertainment, CBN. So I don't know if that means holding companies or not, but there is some inconsistencies here. One of these producers is still working today in the same kind of environment. So 2 people stood out to me. Sean McNamara, who was a producer, who was an executive producer of Kids Incorporated, and Paul Hohen, who was a director, but he's also a producer. They've both been in similar environments. Lots of kids shows. Sean McNamara, The Swap, That's So Raven, At a Jimmy's Head, Even Stevens, and Paul Hohen, Andy Mack, Zombies, Livin' Maddie, Even Stevens, Stuck in the Middle, Sabrina, Alex Mack. So I'm not sure. It's probably one of those 2. Well, shit, maybe it's both. And to these ladies, one thing. I'd like to quote Baby Jean from Mother's Finest. The truth will set you free. Fucking stoned.